Joey. Wait till I put the other music. Oh, okay. Woo! Welcome back, everybody, to the Best Listener in the Room podcast. What's going on, gentlemen?
Super psyched to be here, brother. Let's go.
What's up? Psyched to be here as well. So, here we go. Today's Bible verse is Philippians 2:3. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. Okay, so today we are talking about, we're on part 3 of the series on humility. And we're going to dive into a concept of using powerful words that sometimes people think of as weak or something that could be self-degrading, and actually using them and understanding the power of those words.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the first words we're going to discuss that we are talking about are "you were right and I was wrong."
You were right and I was wrong.
You were right and I was wrong. So this concept is something that hit me at some point in time, and I realized the instant power in being willing to use this, because what happened was, and I used to talk about this a lot on the Mornings with Matt show, where and this might have sounded arrogant, so I apologize if that did at the time, but this concept of, I would hear people tell me, oh, like, you don't think you're ever wrong. And I would say, no, what happens is I allow myself to be wrong right away, like immediately, instantaneously, I admit to it. So as soon as you can get past that, you miss the argument part of the whole bit.
Yeah.
And then it feels like you're never wrong, only because you're sort of always wrong.
Yeah, because you're opening yourself up in every opportunity for the fact that you could absolutely be wrong in that instance. And we talked about this a little bit the other day, and I thank you for this, where you talked about that moment where, I was dipping, and then I came back in to work on the speech and go through that in that moment. And that was I stepped out the door, recognized that, dude, come on, your energy was off, you didn't have a great response. Just get in there and apologize right away. That you were right, I was wrong, I'm going to stay later, and we're going to make this happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what, in that case, and maybe it was I was right, because I don't know that there was a right side of it, because I didn't say, hey, you're feeling this way, and then you're like, no, I'm not, and there wasn't an argument in that case, but more like the idea of, you figured this out for yourself. So
sure,
you were like,
true.
This feels off for whatever reason, and let me just kind of bring attention to this, and then basically you said, I was wrong. And now I want to come to the other side of it. And here's what's crazy. Can we just put the camera over on my man Joe?
Yeah, Joey, come on, dude.
Yeah, dude, hold on. Let me go back to you.
Yeah, let's hold on you, Doc. Let's hold on you for a moment.
Hello, everyone.
You gotta know what's going on.
Oh, is there Hey, guys.
Yeah, bro.
Fixing it up.
We gotta get you some better lighting.
We're working on it.
This is where we were going with that. I'm so happy he's here.
No, I was just trying to get him in focus.
Got it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because he takes the time to focus on each of
Thank
us.
you for being a friend.
Yeah, I love that. Love that, Joey.
Yeah. So now there's this idea that people know and hear about, which is the butterfly effect. Okay, this came up the other day with Jack. I said something, and it was interesting because we were just talking about how one thing leads to the next, and then Jack's like, "Oh, it's a butterfly effect, right?"
Oh, no way. That's
Are
great.
you guys familiar with the butterfly effect?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so if you're not familiar, audience, butterfly effect is this: like everything you do has these consequences that will just be sort of this never-ending path of whatever, and then every decision you make changes all of history for forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then of course you can alter that, like you can change the direction of where it's going, but it is already like now down this path, right?
Yeah.
So my point is this: you know, Joey is now at a next level here than he was that night.
Yeah, no, 100%. And even if you go back to advancing, I guess that night afterwards, there was then a connection where I had made a miscommunication with him that wasn't fair too about coming back, and then we talked through that.
Yeah,
we talked through that.
So
the
now,
same
but
concept.
think about butterfly effect, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, we might not have known what that, like the eventual, like what that could lead to.
For sure.
With now the trajectory of your life and my life and Brian's life and the studio, and then how many people does that affect, and how deep every little decision makes when you listen to truth. That's so crazy.
That's wild. That's so crazy.
Okay, so you were right and I was wrong. In my marriage, this has been a complete game changer, and there have been things that I've come to in my life and figured out and tried to help other people with, and usually people need to come to it on their own. When they become curious themselves and they kind of figure it out, it's so much better. So I'm trying to get better at pulling back. But like my wife is now, it probably took her 8 years to figure this out, but I got good at it earlier, and so it tended to be conflict on my side was easier and conflict on her side was harder. She's gotten so much better at it now, and so have the two of you, where like it's so easy to get through conflict quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me pull this into really quick the acting side real quick, because
Sure.
that kind of inspired me, which is this same concept, it allows you to level up as an actor so much faster and stronger. Like with Masterclass coming up, I know that concept on stage was something that took so long for me to get through. And then once I got through it and realized the power of it and started to allow you as a coach for me in that class to just like hit me with each thing in the moment as you were making discoveries, instead of like basically getting mad at you when you were trying to coach me through something that was literally making me better because I wanted to get to the end of the scene. There's
Right.
like a piece of this that really hits for actors, I think, when you're getting direction from your coach or inside of your class or whatever.
And people don't tend to think of this way. But there's this idea, and it's why I try to say this as a coach as much as possible, where I say, I'm not trying to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I'm right.
Right.
I have nothing to gain from getting to say I'm right. All I ask from you is trust in that I'm trying to get you better.
Yes.
So as soon as you decide you believe that, then you have to realize that now any kind of friction is so counterproductive, because if I believe that you're just trying your best to make me better, then any sort of combating back and forth just slows down the process of us possibly getting to truth.
Absolutely. And personally even growing inside of the scene, and my whole purpose, for example, for being in the class, right?
Yeah, so I go ahead, Joey.
I was just gonna say, I'd like to flip this on its head in that I think growing up I was a really like fierce competitor, or I like to say as a joke, like a world-class trier. I put my all into everything I did. But when it came to that competitiveness, I've learned to lose it a little bit as an adult, and now I'm kind of trying to get it back, like in certain
The competitiveness?
ways. Yeah, because
I'm so glad that you are.
I used to be way too competitive, like about everything,
Right.
and that boiled right into trying to be right all the time, because for whatever reason, if I was wrong, I didn't feel validated in whatever I did, whatever was going on.
So let's dive into that, because that leads me to the story I was about to tell, which you know very well from the speech, which is the Thomas Gorney thing.
Yes.
So here's a billionaire. The guy's a billionaire. I'm sitting in a meeting with him, and there are people who are presenting ideas for these posters. And and one comes up, and Thomas Gorney in his Polish accent says, "I don't like that one." And everybody kind of laughs because he was funny, right? Except for one person, under his breath, says, "Oh, I kind of like that," right? And so Thomas stops the meeting, and he says, "Wait, what did you say?" And the person explains this deeper meaning behind the poster that everybody else had missed. And now all eyes go back to Thomas. There's just this like palpable silence because the billionaire, the CEO, just said he didn't like it. This other person now has this competing opinion. And Thomas Gorney says, "You've convinced me. You were right and I was wrong. Let's hang that up." Like, boom. And what happens is everybody all of a sudden opened up. I use it as this because Thomas Gorney, like me and like you, might be one of the most competitive people I've seen. I love being around people like Thomas Gorney because he teaches me every time I'm with him what successful people do and how successful people think differently and train differently. So the way you saw me grinding on my speech, the way you saw me pounding the pavement, I've seen him do that time and time and time again. And he probably had to pave, I know he did, because I was with him. He had to hit the pavement exponentially harder than me because English is not his first language. He doesn't have a background in public speaking. He's a tech guy.
Yeah.
So before he met me, he wasn't giving speeches. Like I was a part of some of his very first speeches. So he's had to learn that craft while doing everything else. So he's working 200, 300 hours on one speech that for him, he's already made his billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's doing it because he's competitive. That's the interesting thing. So I go back to the poster and what I said in the speech, and this is what I think a great competitor does. A great competitor wants to be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a weirdness about you that you want to be wrong, because if you're wrong, what does that mean? That means there's a better way to do it, and I want that information.
Yeah.
So if you're competitive as an actor, bright guy,
Yeah.
you want to be wrong, because like
Oh, no, 100%.
I didn't see that was wrong, and I'm so excited that I'm wrong, because now as good as I was and as competitive as I am, now if I was wrong, whoa, how much
Absolutely.
better could I be? Now compare me to the same people. You want to compete at that high level? That's how you get great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that totally makes sense, and that's why I said world-class trier. Like, that's the difference between a great competitor, is they use that willingness to be wrong as fuel. They get excited about it, right?
Dude, so I had this, something just hit me that I forgot to tell you guys, so we're gonna talk.
I love it. Right on air.
Talk
Let's
turkey.
go.
We're gonna talk, turkey, technicalities.
Right
Here.
for you guys right now.
For you, basically.
For me.
Yeah, but it's for all of us. But this is kind of for an edit situation.
Oh, gotcha.
Like-
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this is totally unrelated to humility of the topic at hand. I'm just gonna talk about it because I feel like.
Side note! Just adding that. Maybe that's a segment later. Side note. Oh, hit it.
Sound effect I did.
Yep.
But, all right. So here's what it is. You know, I was just on that competitive tangent,
Yeah.
right? And it was like, oh, that one felt kind of good for a second, you know. Here's what I've noticed, and I didn't know why people did this. So I've consumed a bunch of podcasts in the last few years, and I do actually appreciate the ones that are great and for certain reasons, and then certain ones annoy me, and I kind of figure out why. So I try not to do the things that annoy me about different podcasts, right?
Sure.
Well, here's what I hear sometimes. Somebody goes on a rant, or somebody's giving like a piece of information, and they kind of nail the moment. As soon as they're done, they say full stop. And I realized the why. It hit me. I'm like, why did they say full stop? It's so weird. So they'd be like, so someone would be passionate, like, here's how I feel about this thing, and that's the fact, and I'm telling you that that's the way it's gonna be. Full stop. Okay, now as an editor, think about this. When I say full stop, I have to end my sentence, take a mini breath, switch my mouth to. That gives you the time to cut it before somebody else jumps on, so that that moment can be a clip.
Dude, that's so cool. That is so cool.
So you'd say, that's so cool, that's so cool.
Full stop.
So then we would have that. And here's the other thing. In order to say full stop, you have to pretty much put a period on the end of what you were thinking. So you can't kind of trail off, because that also ruins your edit, right?
It does,
Yeah,
yeah.
all the time. All the time.
I think that's why they do it. I don't know. I didn't talk to the guy, but I'm like, that makes perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense to me too. That like really clicked. I was like, dang, that for like pulling clips and dude. I mean, that's where my mind is right now.
Full stop.
Full stop. Full stop.
I don't know. Dude, I'm having so much fun. I don't even want to have a full stop right now.
No full stop. No full stop.
Full stop. All right. So, you know what's crazy? I had forgotten to get a Bible verse, so I just pulled open the Bible app that I use every morning, and I looked up humility, and that's when it came to me. But let's go back there for a second before we wrap up for the day.
Yeah.
So, this is one of those ones that's saying, like, really harshly, don't do this and do this. And the one thing when it says to do is, it says be humble, and then it says thinking of others as better than yourselves. Thinking of others as better than yourself. And I wanna bring up another thing that I noticed that Thomas Forney, it was a bad habit of his. I didn't call him out on it, but I imagine somebody else did. Okay? And this is one of those sort of lazy English things that sometimes people would say, and maybe because English was his was not his first language. I don't want to say second because he knows like 8 languages, but you know, English being not his first language, he would say this. So I would give him some information. So let's say it's like a speech moment, and then I'm like, try it this way, right? And he would think about it or do it or something, and then he would go, I actually liked it, right? Then he started saying to me, like maybe years later, he would say the same thing, but then he would catch himself right away, and he would say, I don't mean that, and I don't actually like it, I like it. Because what does the word actually mean then?
Like there was a past
Usually,
for
no,
Like, I can't believe
yeah. This is crazy.
How could you have a great idea?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he didn't mean to do that, and I never took it that way, but I did hear it,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't say anything to him because it wasn't, we hadn't earned that yet for
Sure.
me to like correct him in that way, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
But I think someone who loves him did give him that tough love. I think he took it, wanted it, because here's the thing that Thomas does in that meeting, what he does with me, and I think what he probably does with most people, is he doesn't see you as less than him just because he's a billionaire.
Right.
He sees you as, he expects from you better than him, and therefore he can learn from you. He hopes so. And if not, probably I need to find the next guy.
Yeah, sure.
So here's the be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. When you do that, when you're humble, you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely you win. Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's great proof. And even like the way that, going back to Thomas, like you even connected to the competitiveness. One of the things I love from stories that you would share was that like when he was leaving, staff was there, it'd be like 1 a.m, and he'd just be like, oh, you're going like as a joke going home, like, cause he's kind of fighting with that person to like, to almost build them up too in that way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to push them to their edge, whereas they may have gone home way sooner or whatever, or not, I don't know, but like, he pushes them in that way, and that lifts them up.
Well, and
You know?
you hear, or I heard after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that was one of his traits. That he would always pull a little bit more out of people than what they thought they were capable of.
Yes, absolutely.
At the same time, Charlie was a huge believer in faith, huge believer in family, huge believer in like, you know, connectedness, but realized, probably the way we're realizing, that once you're killing the day, you just can't wait for tomorrow to start. That's
That's
like,
right.
when life is exciting, you cannot wait for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to waste an ounce of today. But then I'd like tomorrow. Like I'm already there actually. I'm literally already there. Where I can't wait to wake up tomorrow because I know how exciting it's gonna be to do what we're doing.
Definitely, yeah.
And yet I can't wait to be on fire the rest of the night at the same time.
Right, yeah. Teach the rest of these classes.
Yeah. And if we didn't have the classes, it might be like, I don't know, we watch basketball with all of our heart, or we play with my kids with all of our heart, like whatever it is, right? But you're like, I want to kill the rest of this day, but I can't wait for tomorrow. So I'm gonna wake up with energy. I'm gonna read the Bible. I'm gonna be like, boom. How can I love and lift up as many people as possible? Because it feels so good to be not about you.
Full stop.
Full stop. Put it into practice, baby.
That's right. Start it right now. We can do it for each other, see? Boom.
Yes, it is better, I think, if you do it for yourself.
Of course. It just felt like a full stop moment.
Full stop. You know what I mean? Because you could accidentally full stop me early.
That's true, but we're so connected.
Full stop.
Then we wouldn't do that.
Yeah. No, because I'm just saying for the technicality of
Of course, yeah.
right? If you say it for yourself, it forces you to put a period on this. And matter of fact, let's do this, Brian. Say something inspirational, and then
Say something.
Say something inspirational, I believe, is what you meant there. I'll say that the Spirit of the Lord has been moving me a lot recently, and that was founded off of you starting this podcast. So I just want to say thank you to you for starting this podcast again, because it's ignited so much in me that has been missing recently. Full stop.
Yes. See, because you had to find your way to full stop, right? You had to find your way to a period.
Yes.
You hear it? You feel that?
I do.
And that was amazing, by the way. That could be a clip.
Thank you. Yeah, it could be a clip.
Clip.
Clip it.
All right. So.
We're gonna explain it at some point, or not.
All right, everybody. That was the Best Listener in the Room podcast. Cannot wait to come back tomorrow. Pick up number 4 out of 5 in the humility series, and the last 2, surprise, surprise, are going to be acting episodes. So if you're specifically interested in that, we're going to connect this humility right into acting and sort of dive deep on how that's going to help you as an actor, even beyond what Brian talked about today. So before we do that, Brian, why don't you tell everybody about the, all the things, all the actions they should take on our podcast before I end it, and then you say, wait, don't end it, and then we end this third, fourth time.
That's fair. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We love you. Love us back.
Better.
Add a little Aki at the end. I love it.
Better. Oh, we got.
That was good.
We got logo on top of logo.
Oh.
So many logos.
Huh?
I said so many logos.
Yeah.
Oh, it was on top of the other one?
We had guys 1 watching. So no worries. That was me. And that's fine. But I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
No one like.
Just don't watch it. Oh, you watched the whole thing there, so you
Yeah, and I watched it live.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because that